Every empire begins the same way, in silence. No flags, no cities, no name, just land, waiting. This land waited longer than most, untouched, unclaimed, unforgiving, and then everything changed. Something was coming, out of the silence, out of the sea, and nothing here would ever be the same again. This is the history of America. Long before ships, long before flags, this continent breathed on its own terms, answering to no one. For thousands of years, hundreds of nations rose here, trading, building, thriving, in a world entirely their own. Civilizations older than most empires in history, and almost none of it would survive what came next. They didn't know it yet, but the horizon was already betraying them. Somewhere out past the water's edge, the first ships had already left their ports. And whatever this land had been for 10,000 years was about to end in a single generation. 1492, the world cracked open, and nothing would ever close it again. Spanish, French, English, empires with hungry eyes, chasing gold, land, and power across an ocean never crossed before. What followed wasn't just discovery, it was collision, and collisions always leave wreckage behind. 1607, Jamestown, the first permanent foothold, fragile, desperate, and built on land that was never truly empty. More settlements followed, scattered like sparks along a coastline that had no idea what it was about to become. 13 colonies took root, growing quietly at first, then faster than anyone expected. But growth like this never stays peaceful for long, not when an empire is still watching from across the ocean. For over a century, the colonies grew restless, taxed without voice, ruled without consent. The anger simmered for years, quietly, dangerously, until one day, it simply stopped simmering. 1775, the first shots rang out, and there was no turning back from this point forward.
A war for something no empire had ever handed over willingly. Freedom. And freedom always demands a price.
In the quiet of a single room, a decision was about to be made that would outlive every person in it. July 4th, 1776. Words became a weapon sharper than any blade forged that century. A declaration, a warning, and a point of no return, all sealed in a single sitting. The words were written, but now they had to be defended on a battlefield that showed no mercy. The war dragged through freezing winters and broken supply lines, testing everyone who believed in it. Thousands died for an idea that didn't even have a country yet, only a promise. But in 1781, against every likely outcome, that promise finally won. 1787. From chaos, a framework was built, one meant to outlive everyone who ever touched it. A constitution built on checks, balances, and the fragile hope that power could be contained. It has held, so far, through wars, crises, and centuries no one in that room could have imagined. But a nation this young was never going to stay still for long. 1803, the nation doubled overnight, swallowing territory faster than it could even understand it. And then it kept reaching, westward, relentlessly, consuming everything in its path. Settlers pushed forward, chasing land and opportunity, reshaping an entire continent's geography in a single lifetime. Railroads followed, then factories, ambition without limits, stretching iron across the wilderness. America wasn't just growing anymore. It was accelerating towards something it couldn't yet control. Beneath all that growth, a wound had been left to fester, quietly, for far too long. Slavery split the nation's soul, long before it ever split its map. And in 1861, that wound tore wide open, all at once, with no way to close it quietly. 4 years, the deadliest war in American history. Brother against brother, state against state. No single battle defined it. It was simply endless. And it changed everyone. Everyone it touched. 1865. The Union survived, and slavery was finally abolished. But freedom on paper is not the same as freedom lived. Some wounds don't close, they just stop bleeding out loud. And out of that long, uneasy silence, something entirely new began to rise. Out of the ashes, a machine roared to life, faster and louder than anything before it. Millions arrived by ship. They chased a promise they desperately hoped was real. America stopped asking permission to become powerful. It simply became powerful. And that power would soon be tested on a stage far beyond its own shores. 1917, America entered a war that reshaped the entire world, and it would not be the last. 1929 collapse, a depression that broke fortunes and futures alike, all at once.
For years, the nation simply held its breath, waiting for the ground to feel solid again.
1941. The world was on fire again. And this time, there was no staying out of it. The entire nation turned into a machine built for one purpose only: victory. When the smoke cleared in 1945, only 2 superpowers remained standing, and America was one of them. 1969, humanity's furthest reach, and against every doubt, America got there first. But even conquering the sky couldn't silence the battles still raging back home. The fight for equality reshaped the nation from the inside out, a battle that never fully ended. From empty wilderness to a nation that reshaped the entire world. Built on ambition, scarred by its own contradictions, still unfinished. America's story was never about where it started. It's about what it's still becoming, and the next chapter is still being written.